What's up, everybody? Or should I do how Sean does when I'm not here? What is up, everybody?
What is up, everybody?
Yeah. So excited to be back for this week's edition of the Bench Mob here on the 48 Minutes Basketball Network, which, if you've been paying attention to the 48 Minutes crew on the socials, you know now we officially have merchandise.
We have
Finally.
merch, baby.
Did you follow Taylor Bergfeld's betting advice this year and lose money? We have a shirt for that. Do you love Ben Brown calling Paul Pierce a dry snitch? We have a shirt for that.
Hey, get your dry snitch shirts. Let's go.
And we also, of course, have 48 Minutes Network t-shirts, hoodies, joggers. I got to get a pair of joggers. I don't have it yet.
Absolutely.
And a few more things coming. So go to 48minutesbasketballnetwork.merchmake.com. Support the pod, support the network. Show some love to us. We're definitely appreciate it. I am Tim Daniel. Very excited for this show as we're getting ready for round 2, conference semi time of the NBA playoffs. We are without Sean Mackey tonight. He is stuck moving a washer and dryer out of someone's house tonight. So thoughts and prayers with Sean Mackey on this evening.
Hey, man, shout out to your boy. Hey, when your friends call, I guess you got to answer, but moving a washer and dryer,
He did it when we moved from my condo to my house. He moved my washer and dryer for me, so he's good at it.
Is that his thing?
Man, is he the washer dryer guy?
He's got the straps and stuff. He be locking in like that.
Yeah,
got to make sure that water pressure's
He's
right.
like, you got a dolly? Are you good? You got to get the
He's
strap,
like,
the straps
I am the dolly.
Right.
Got to make sure those water connections are good, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. So without Sean tonight, but we do have the other two of the crew with us. My man, 100 grand, Trap Money Benny himself, Mr. Ben Brown.
What's good? What's good, man? Good to see you back after a week hiatus.
Trap money, huh?
So, oh, yeah. So get that bread, son. Get that bread. So, but yeah, here to talk NBA, man. It's the best time of the year. We got the draft on. We've got NBA playoff basketball. So let's get it.
Yeah, and of course, Ben, if you could please do this introduction.
Absolutely, my man, my brother, my number one, my ace buku, Joshua, Odellis, Pharrellis, Montellis, Overzealous, Hayes. What's good, my brother? Rocking your Rod Woodson for the draft.
Just, you know, we talk NBA basketball, but you know that NFL draft night is one of the biggest nights of the year. So I had to represent the team while we was up on here. Although if you guys aren't paying attention, I do see Tim over there with an orange shirt on, which is kind of cool because
actually wearing a bull shirt.
Oh, is it Bulls? Oh, it looks orange from where I'm sitting.
It's my lighting in my room.
Ben does have a blue shirt on.
I do. And unlike most years, Tim will have to stay up past midnight to watch the Bengals pick.
I know. I'm not used to this.
Because usually their pick is done by now.
The last couple years, they've already picked.
Yeah. Oh, man. The Giants got Kayvon Thibodeau. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
the Giants are on the clock again.
They had the 5 and the 7.
Go get Kyle Hamilton here now. Just
I hope.
Defense.
Yeah.
Load up the defense. But that's another sport. That's another sport. So we will obviously, if you want to keep up with that, check out the Josh and Ben's personals because when they're here, they're required. It's mandatory. We talk hoops, obviously. Nothing else. So we're going to start the show with our exit interviews for the teams who have so far been eliminated from the NBA playoffs, which at this moment is just 2. Granted, as we're recording this, Toronto is down 23 points to the Sixers. Near the end of the third quarter. So let's start with obviously the team that everyone's talking about, the Brooklyn Nets, getting swept by the Boston Celtics. Let me reiterate that. Swept. Preseason title favorites swept. The Western Conference preseason title favorites finished 15 games under 500. This is betting favorites, I should say. Betting favorites. Right. But obviously just a crazy year how everything worked out. Brooklyn goes down 4-0. Obviously had a crazy, dramatic full year. Could not stop myself from laughing. When Kyrie Irving has that interview, his last media session, he goes, yeah, I was really, felt like it was such a distraction when I wasn't able to play. I'm like, oh, really, Kyrie? Distraction? Right. You don't say. But like Josh and I were talking in the group text the other night during game 4. It was like when like things were just like looking bad and their backs were against the wall, they just completely forgot about spacing. They were like, nope, everyone just stand somewhere and give the ball to Durant. And obviously that's not how you win. There's obviously the big cloud that Ben Simmons just is like, I just feel like collecting a paycheck. I mean, I dated a Kardashian. I saw that they didn't have to do anything for money, so I'm gonna do the same thing.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, obviously the exit interview for the Brooklyn Nets. Positives. They have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
Correct.
Negatives. Well, and Seth Curry. I do like Seth Curry. Negatives. The rest of that roster sucks.
Yeah. And we Go ahead, Joshua.
I was saying they're gonna get Joe Harris back next year.
That's big.
That's huge for them. I don't know about the whole Ben Simmons thing. I like their roster. I think that they just needed more time to play together. Once we realized that they didn't have no cohesiveness, like it was just going to be a struggle for them. And unfortunately for them, they got knocked into a play-in game where they had to play the number 1 seed. And if it's a 4-5 matchup, or they were playing Atlanta in the first round, or if they'd have got the Bulls, as much as I hate to say it, like
talk about the Hawks too.
Yes. We probably would have seen them kind of get their act together, and they probably would have been a little bit scarier in the second round. But without Joe Harris, without Ben Simmons, and the other thing is, I don't think people realize that the series was actually a lot closer than being swept. I mean, they only lost by an average of 4. It was like 4.2 points a game, for the series. So it wasn't like they were getting blown out, but they just couldn't make plays down the stretch because they went straight ISO ball with 2 guys, and you can't win like that. You just can't.
Josh, you're such a Nets apologist. I love it.
No, I agree with that, Josh. And I agree with you, Tim. I mean, you do have 2 building blocks that are 2 of the top 15 players in the world, with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. We always said this from the beginning, that this roster was clunky, that it didn't fit well. There were things on there, there were people on their roster and things on their roster that just didn't fit. And you kind of saw that towards the end. And when it got to the end, they were trying to plug and part pieces in that you knew, like, I mean, at some point Blake Griffin was getting minutes there. In those last couple games, you're like,
yeah, in crunch time.
In crunch time, you're like, hold on, Blake, hold on. You set Blake Griffin all this time, and now he's getting minutes. So that you could tell Steve Nash was grasping at straws. It is his first year as a head coach. You did have the Harden trade. Then you had the Ben Simmons thing. You got Kyrie. He's in, he's out. Kevin Durant got hurt at some point in the stretch of the season. So, I mean, you had so many different things going on with the Brooklyn Nets, on top of the fact that they were favored to win the East, and were in the play-in game. So you had a lot of different aspects going on with the Brooklyn Nets. I don't think they ever really got a cohesive flow. And I don't care how good Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are. The Boston Celtics were playing at such a higher level going into that series of cohesiveness. And those guys were playing so well at the time that it was probably the worst case scenario for the Brooklyn Nets, kind of like what Josh said. It was probably the worst case scenario for them because Celtics were probably the hottest team in the East going into the playoffs. And then you're playing, you got you're not playing scrubs. You're playing Jason Tatum, who was on fire. You're playing Jaylen Brown. You're playing Marcus Smart, who's Defensive Player of the Year. You're getting contributions from everybody on the floor there. So, for Brooklyn, I would just like to see them clean up their roster. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Ben Simmons. You got to find some other guys that can play quality minutes that you can rely on and can be there consistently.
Claxton.
That being one of them. Absolutely. So I think they've got to find they've got to find these pieces, get them minutes, get them cohesive. And then you got to figure out the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. When we get in trouble, we go ISO ball and go crazy. Like Like sometimes that's going to work, but sometimes that's not. And in this series, it didn't work. They got down, they were struggling, and they're like, "Oh, let's just get KD the ball." Sometimes that's great because KD is one of the best players in the world. But when KD's going 4 for 14 and he's missing shots down the stretch, like that's not a good plan.
And it's funny you say that, Ben, because that whole entire game, I'm probably one of the biggest KD fans out there, and I kept saying, why does Kyrie not have the ball right now? Like, you could tell Kyrie could have been on a mission. Like, every time they did give him the ball and he got some space, like to the bucket, he got a shot off, and he shot well from the floor. He just didn't have enough shots that game.
Yeah.
And he should have had the ball in his hand more. And KD probably should have took a little bit of a back step. He was missing. He was forcing. I mean, he's like uncharacteristic turnovers.
Yeah.
But he was good at he was actually good at having the ball in his hand and making plays, like passing the ball to others. So you see that's working. Like, use that to your advantage and not feel like you have to be the guy when you actually have somebody else that can take the pressure off you when you aren't hitting shots. And he didn't do that with Kyrie. There was almost points on the floor where I was like, Kyrie kind of looks pissed off because he's not getting the rock, and he probably should have had it a little more.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm going to go ahead and point this out. Kyrie Irving, now since leaving Cleveland, is yet to play past the second round. So just throwing that out there for all these people out here that say Kyrie Irving's a winning basketball player. Just
yeah, that's a tough stat.
Yeah.
That's a tough stat. You can be great. You can be great, and I guess not be clutch or win in the clutch or whatever.
It takes the team to win.
It does. Right. It does. But he's one that likes to burn teams down, so
he does.
He's Seth Rollins in this building.
Right. He is. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, all right. That brings us to the Atlanta Hawks. I totally forgot about that at the beginning of the episode. Which, before we get into talking about the Hawks and like their exit interview, let me just say real quick.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Oh man, I love it. Love it.
Hold on. Let's get into your disdain of the Hawks.
All right, one.
Go
Trae
ahead.
Young's a fake tough guy. He's a fake ass tough guy.
Okay.
Super fraud. Number 2. Stop comparing him to Steph Curry. He's not Steph Curry. He will never be Steph Curry. Ever.
Hey, I will say amen to that. Absolutely.
Last year was a fluke. Ben Simmons handed them the Eastern Conference final trip. Handed it to him. They are not built to be a contender. They have never been built to be a contender. Like, not since when? Since Bud was there? Since Bud was the coach? When they were the 1 seed and they lost to Cleveland?
Yeah.
Like, I like parts of their team. I really like DeAndre Hunter. I think he's a really good role player in the NBA. I really like John Collins. And Trae Young is a great talent. But he's so focused on his whole bowing and me, and all this bullshit, and they lose. And they lost bad. And I loved every moment of it. So now let's get to the Hawks, guys.
Yeah,
I think you pretty much summed it up. Moving on.
I was going to say, yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there, Tim. I think
we're good here.
I think you're good. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I think that I can't say that I dislike Trae Young because I don't dislike him because I do think he's a decent player. I do think there are stretches of times in this series where he doesn't make great decisions. He had a high turnover rate in that playoff. He averaged almost 6.5 turnovers a game in that series, and only averaged 15 points a game in the series. So there's got to be something said about you being the leader and the guy, and you're averaging almost half of your points to turnovers. Like that's something's got to be said for that. Trae Young has to be better if they're going to be better. I do like DeAndre Hunter. I like Bogdanovich. I thought he played well in the series. I think John Collins I don't think John Collins played as well as he has.
Yeah, I agree.
During the season, he did not play well during that series. So I don't know as far as exit interview. I do think Gallinari. I like him, but he's kind of older talent. I think you've got to add a couple other wing pieces. We've talked about this before. It's very difficult for your best player to be the point guard. It's usually the wing. It's usually a guy like LeBron, Kevin Durant. Now, I can't say it can't happen because, of course, we've watched Ja Morant just take over games. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying it's very difficult for that guy to do it alone without having other pieces. I do think another year for Hunter and another year for Collins, but they're going to have to get other pieces in there, like wing talent. I liked Capella. Capella played well this year.
Yeah.
But they've got to find some other pieces there, and in those type of situations, your stars had to play better. Trae Young has to play better, especially if you're going to bow and you're going to do all the other antics. You've got to shoot the ball better. You've got to have less turnovers. You got to play better. And John Collins has to show up. He's too much of a talent to only average 9 points in the series. That can't happen.
Yeah, like cool Trae Young, you beat Cleveland.
Yeah. I don't think it helps either that they were playing Miami.
No.
And Miami defensively, there were parts of that series where defensively Miami looked like they were the best defensive team of the decade. I know the decade's only I'm talking about since 2010, but I mean,
was it one of you all that sent a clip? Was it one of you all that sent a clip where he got Trae Young had Jimmy Butler guarding, somebody set a screen, then Bam Adebayo stepped up to guard him, then somebody else set a screen, and like Oladipo picked him up. He's like, "Oh my gosh, like I can't get away from anybody." Like it's like I'm like just three great defenders. Like there's nothing you can do about it. Go ahead, Josh.
Shout out Oladipo in that series, man.
Yeah. Stepped up big.
We all know Oladipo is a talent, man. He's been hurt.
Sure.
And I think he's starting to come around. He could be big for them coming off the bench in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
If Jimmy or Lowry or somebody's having a bad night, he can step in off the bench. And I think that closeout game, he had like 23 or 25 or something like that. Like he definitely showed up.
He definitely led the way.
Yeah, I mean, especially, it looks like all signs are pointing to they're playing the Sixers. So
if you're looking at scores, it looks like they're playing the Sixers, which we'll talk about that matchup, but.
Yeah. Oh my God. Phoenix came back. Phoenix is up 1.
Oh geez.
Holy, how did they turn that? Oh my God. The way that they turned it on. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get to that. But yeah, so I meant to say this earlier with Brooklyn. This is kind of if you're looking ahead. So Brooklyn right now has the 23rd pick in the draft, which they got in the Harden trade from Philly. They had the 17th pick, but funny enough, it goes to the Harden trade from Houston. So the Rockets had the Nets pick, and the Nets had the Sixers pick.
Okay.
So guys you can kind of look at for Brooklyn could be kind of like, I don't know if they need like the freshman flashy rookie that like played 1 year of college ball. I really like a guy for them like Christian Braun from Kansas, Wendell Moore from Duke, I think is an absolutely perfect fit for them. And then the Hawks have the 16th pick in the first round. They also have a second rounder at 44. Tankathon has Jeremy Sokan from Baylor going to them there, who I really like a lot. I think he's a really good player. But I really want them to get like a big shooter, like someone that like, cause we know Capella's an awesome rebounder and a really good defender, but like Walker Kessler from Auburn with Trae Young and DeAndre Hunter in them would be like a beautiful fit. So kind of looking ahead there. All right, Josh, I'm glad you're back from your technical difficulties because we're talking the Bulls now. Obviously, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. I'm bummed, but we talked about it. Like none of us expected them to win that series.
We were hyped we won a game because we were expecting to get swept.
DeRozan dropping 40 to win a playoff game against the defending NBA champs. Listen to how I'm romanticizing that to put in context how we felt about the series.
Look, we're not far off.
I don't think so. I really don't think we are.
We get Lonzo back.
Caruso?
We get us another big. Somebody that can help. I don't think Pat Williams is a true power forward in a sense that like he's a tad undersized. I mean, but he can give you some offense here and there. We get that guy, and then maybe another bench player that can give us a spark when we're golden. But I mean, you could tell not having Lonzo in that series hurt a lot.
Oh, for sure.
When you're counting on Caruso to be your point guard, and you got DeRozan and I mean, you got those three guys kind of taking turns, and really Lonzo you could see the Bulls were different when Lonzo was on the floor, and he kind of set the pace, and it was different, and those guys could get the spots. But I like what we have. I don't think anybody needs to go. I don't want Sean coming on here talking about we need to trade Vucevic for whoever it was.
Right.
But like I said, we stay healthy. We get a big, we get a good power forward and maybe one more bench guy, and I think we're ready to compete with anybody in the East.
I will say, I fully suspect that Kobe White has played his last game as a Bull. I cannot see a circumstance where they bring him back. Just too timid. Like, I mean, game one, he was awesome. Game one, he was really good. But like the rest of the series, he was just too timid and he just couldn't find a rhythm. I think they're going to want to look for guys who are more consistent off the bench. I get what you're saying about Vooch. I'm not saying they should trade him because he had some really good stretches in this series. I think he was bad the last game, but I mean, we all knew they were out of it. And obviously they're playing without three of their big guards when Caruso, Lonzo, and LaVine are all out. Key number one is obviously signing back Zach LaVine. Max him. Just do not let him walk. You still have money because you have all these other guys on rookie deals besides him, DeMar, and Vooch. So like you're fine there. Pat Williams.
So is he a unrestricted?
Unrestricted.
Gosh,
all signs point to he's coming back. But
that's scary though, because like, I mean,
you think Greg Popovich doesn't want Zach LaVine?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
like I mean, and they got money to burn. So
yeah, you think Minnesota wouldn't want Zach LaVine back with Anthony Edwards and Cat and D'Lo?
That's hilarious.
Right.
Like you said, I think LaVine wants to be in Chicago. I think he knows they can win there.
I was trying to think because he just signed his New Balance contract, and Chicago's not a huge New Balance area. So, who is unfortunately Boston. Don't even think about it.
Oh, nah.
No. Guys I really like for the Bulls. Josh said they really need an offensive power forward because I love Pat Williams, but I'm with you. I think he is I think he's going to be the starting four because they don't have a choice with DeMar and LaVine. Obviously Javonte Green, who is really, really good on ball defensively. Really like him. Ben, you'll like this one as a Buckeye. I want EJ Liddell.
Ooh.
I want EJ Liddell so bad for this team to come off the bench, be the backup four, just an offensive powerhouse in the Big Ten who can rebound, who can protect the rim. I mean, he's a little bigger than like Draymond, but he's so physical. If the Bulls could somehow get EJ Liddell at 18, if they keep the pick, if they don't trade it somewhere, I'm all in. I love EJ Liddell.
You think he's there? Do you think he's there at that pick though?
I do, strictly because of his age.
He's an older guy.
Yeah, I'm not saying I would be shocked if he was taken at the end of the lottery. Because there's certainly teams who could use his skill set, like a San Antonio, for example, or even in Atlanta. Which if that happens, that and Walker Kessler drops to the Bulls, I'm even happier. But I think Liddell, for where the Bulls will be picking, I think is just a perfect pick for them.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think he's really
EJ
good.
Liddell. Yeah, EJ Liddell, and you said Draymond Green. He reminds me a lot of Draymond. I mean, I don't think he's as good defensively, but
who is?
Who is?
Yeah.
Draymond is special. He's a unicorn. But he gives you mid-range. He gives you physical toughness. He gives you a guy who can defend the paint. He gives you a guy who can step out and hit threes. He gives you a little bit of everything. So EJ Liddell would be a really good pick.
Yeah, I really like him a lot. And then I guess should we just go ahead because, I mean, anything can happen. But with 7 minutes to go, the Sixers are up 26 points. Should we just go ahead next to interview the Raptors?
Yep. Go ahead.
Let me just ask you guys this first, because this has been a topic of conversation. I necessarily, like, look, we've heard me all year talk about Evan Mobley and how I love him, and I think he's tremendous. And I think he's going to end up being, you know, an MVP. But I'm not disappointed that Scottie Barnes got Rookie of the Year. I think with how it worked out, where the Raptors were for sure in the playoffs and how much he helped them, and like just that big turnaround they had post All-Star break, I'm totally okay with him winning Rookie of the Year.
He was the most consistent of all the rookies, though. Like, you know, Mobley got hurt.
Right.
Cunningham came out late.
Giddy.
Yeah, Giddy came out late.
Yeah, Green came in. Yeah. Green came on late. Giddy came on late. Other than is it Franz in Orlando, who I thought played very well. I think he tailed off towards the end of the season. And Scottie Barnes was just consistent all year. Like, if you look at the rookie rankings, he was top 3 the entire year. You know, I don't think he really fell out of that spot. And he impressed me more than I thought he would. You know, when I saw him at Florida State, I didn't think he was really that great of a shooter. He definitely worked on that in the offseason. I mean, you can't really knock what he did.
No, not at all. That's what I was trying to say. Like, I don't have an issue with him winning it, but I do think Mobley will end up being the best player in this draft. Very similar to Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis-esque, with Lillard getting the Rookie of the Year, and we saw what Davis went on to do when he was healthy and able to play basketball, if that ever happens ever again. But as far as Toronto goes, I mean, obviously Siakam's there for a long time. He signed that max, and he's still in the middle of that max deal. Scottie Barnes, you have another building block on. You have a great coach in Nick Nurse. I mean, really one of the best in the league. I don't think this is a team that's really too far away either from going back to that.
Is there anybody that finds more talent than Toronto, though?
The way that they use the G League is how I wish every single NBA team would use their G League team.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It seems like every year they got a guy that comes up that you don't really hear of, and then all of a sudden he's like stardom.
Yeah. You know this as good as anyone. David Johnson is a member of the Toronto Raptors. Next year, he's probably going to end up being a 20-minute guy with 9 points a game off their bench. Like, it's how they do it. Yeah. Let me look at where they're slotted in the draft real quick. I don't have them off the top of my head. Toronto is currently slotted. Do they not have a first rounder? Oh, no. Raptors do not have a first rounder.
Really?
Yeah. They have a second. They have an early second, which they can probably go get like a really good shooter off the bench there. But I really like what this team's doing. I think just their smarts and their front office is so talented. And like Josh said, the way they just find guys that they can plug in and play immediately and just be really helpful to what they want is really awesome. And I think they're tremendous. So I think it's a lot of just like with this team, it's a lot of like just, I think I'm going to say like, obviously look to get better because there's certainly going to be people who are interested, especially now that you can be back in Canada a little more freely after the pandemic kind of, I shouldn't say over with. That's terrible to say, but like
it's
restrictions decreasing.
And it's retreating a little bit.
Yeah.
Subsiding a little bit.
But I think a lot of it's just kind of keep your core together and keep building. Like, because I really think that like all these kids they have, they're really talented, and as they get together, but if they can find like a veteran point guard to lead them, like, you know, they brought Thad Young in, and obviously, you know, he's very helpful for every team.
Like Kyle Lowry. No.
Yeah, like a Kyle Lowry. So that's really all I really have to say about them.
I'll tell you what,
I like them a lot.
I was impressed with like them being able to fit like Trent Jr. into the mix and like how he would have some big games. And, you know, we knew Siakam missed some games early on, but like as he got into playing shape, I mean, he had a stretch where he was like insane.
Yeah.
And then OG like stepping up.
Love OG.
Even though he missed a lot of games, and like you said, Scottie Barnes coming in as a rookie. I think they had 5 guys average, 15 points or more a game. I mean, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I like this team. I think they're going to be really good for a long time. And
I agree.
They have a great front office who works and makes things happen. Whoever they get at 33, I know it's the second round, they're going to get some dude who's going to come in and get buckets. Yep. So they're a team that really trusts their system, and their system's very successful. So I get it. Last team that be eliminated that we have to do next review at this moment.
The Denver Nuggets.
The Denver Nuggets. I think the obvious here is, one is get healthy.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest one.
That's the biggest one, man, honestly. Yeah. That's the biggest one.
Yeah, because Jokic was tremendous. There's a reason he's an MVP candidate. There's a reason he's in the top 3.
They were after the first couple games, I mean, he was getting kind of shredded about, like, he needs to do more. I was like, I don't know what more you can do than 31 and 13 and 6.
He was hunted quite a bit in the Golden State series. They were like getting him in pick and rolls and stuff like that, but like that's also what they do. So I don't know.
That's what you're saying. That's Golden State. I don't think they were just particularly going after Jokic, but yeah, that's what they do.
I like the pieces that they have, but like you said, when you bring back Porter Jr. and you bring back Murray, like that's a whole different team right there. Like that, that team right there should be able to compete with anybody in the West. And I think it was good for them to have some of these guys get some playing time, like Bones Highland. Like, he got a lot of playing time and ended up being decent. And I feel like Austin Rivers may have found himself a spot somewhere finally where he doesn't get traded again. As weird as it sounds, like they used him in the playoffs. Like DeMarcus Cousins had a couple good games. I don't know if he stays or not, but like the one that tricks me all the time is Aaron Gordon, because like there's times where I look at him and I'm like, man, he's just a shell of himself. He's so old. Like, dude's 26. Like,
he feels forever old though. You're right.
He should be in the prime of his basketball career right now. And I feel like he's out there with LeBron somewhere, just like about to be like on the edge of it, about to be done. I'm like, dang, at 26, like for real, man. Like Jeff Green moves better than you.
Yeah. For him being this super athletic dunker, his lateral movement is very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
See, I really think with them, it's just get healthy. Maybe try to find another guy to kind of take the load off of Joker. But yeah, they get those 2 guys
Murray.
Yeah, but
that's supposed to be
we
Murray.
saw flashes of Porter Jr. being able to step up and maybe takes that next step. So imagine if those 3 were together, and then they're looking very similar, like what Golden State looks like right now, with how they've been able to get everything they wanted out of Jordan Poole, and then some.
Yeah. I wonder if that lineup's going to work so well next round.
It would work. The Mavs are kind of big.
Yeah, that would there. But Phoenix, I think they're going to have to go back to Jordan Poole coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Unless New Orleans pulls this miracle off, which, I mean, they've played so well that it's possible.
It is possible.
Yeah.
They're up 3 into the third.
Yeah.
Are they a different team with Zion out there? Or does he, like, if he's healthy, does he help that team?
Not defensively.
No, I was going to say defensively, I don't think so. But I don't know.
Look, here's what I'm going to say about it. The franchise player for the Pelicans is on the court.
Brandon Ingram.
Ingram.
Yeah.
Yep.
That guy's amazing.
He has been better than so many stars this postseason.
Yep. He's been so good.
I know listen, I know we talk about this all the time. I know the Lakers got a championship out of it. I know they did. I can't take away from the fact that it was a weird situation where they played in a weird spot, and but they won regardless. They won a ring out of it.
Yeah, the banner's hanging.
Does that make up for what they gave up to get that one ring, to know what they're about to head into probably for the next X amount of years? Because I don't see them winning another one.
I think it does. I think if it's all about winning a title, they want a title. If getting LeBron James is all about winning a championship, they accomplish that. You're right. They will not win another one. There is no way that they get out of this Russell Westbrook deal. There's no way.
Yeah, they're stuck.
Yeah.
I just look at all those guys that were on that roster having success elsewhere. And I'm not saying that those teams are going to win a chip either, but I'm saying like those if they didn't take Anthony Davis, right? And LeBron went there, and then they have all those guys that were on that team. The Caruso, he stays, and you keep Trez, and you play him, and you get Brandon Ingram, and you don't get rid of Lonzo. Like, what does that team look like now?
At this moment, probably better, but at the end of the day, confetti dropped. They held up to Larry O'Brien. I think they're good. I don't think they're going to regret it.
Yeah,
what they're probably going to regret is little things here and there, like trading for Russell Westbrook. I think they'll regret that. Signing DeAndre Jordan. I think they'll regret that.
Who?
Yep. DeAndre Jordan.
But I think at the end of the day, man, like if the Bulls sold out, won a title, and then were terrible for 3 years,
you'd be happy.
Yeah, for sure. If the Bengals would have won against the Rams, and then they're 4-13 next year, I don't care.
You'd be happy.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I think it's a really fashionable thing. Pelicans fans make me laugh because they think they won the trade, but this is their first playoff appearance since Anthony Davis left. So, I don't know, man. Josh Hart's not there anymore. You got him in that trade. Lonzo's not there anymore. You got him in that trade. Brandon Ingram's been tremendous. Don't get me wrong, but now you have Larry Nance. You could have got him in, I guess. No, he was in Cleveland already at that point. So disregard. Yeah. Let me ask you guys real quick too. So obviously we talked a bit about. We're starting to see some of the awards roll out of who's winning what, and we talked already about Rookie of the Year. I think we're all okay with that. Marcus Smart getting Defensive Player of the Year. Here's what I'll say about it. I don't know if I necessarily would have picked him, and not a slight against him, because I thought Mikal Bridges was awesome.
Oh, I'm Bridges. I was Team Bridges all day long.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But I will say it's awesome to see a wing or a perimeter player finally win it again.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree with that. That was definitely good to see. Since they haven't, I mean, Rudy Gobert's pretty much had that. Him and Draymond have had it kind of on lock. So it was good to see a perimeter
Jamal
player.
Crawford, Lou Will, 6th Man of the Year trade off for like ever.
right. So no, it was definitely good to see a wing perimeter guy win that award. So because for a while there, you just never thought it was going to go back that way again.
It was just always going to be Rudy Gobert, like for the next. And to be honest with you, he deserved it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Giannis could have won it this year too.
Yep.
I would have put my money on Draymond had he not got hurt.
Same. He was locked in. He was on another level. I think they're gonna win it. I really do.
I know. Then we're gonna have to look into the corner of this guy right here.
I think somebody else predicted that too.
That'll be the next shirt. Ben Brown called it.
Yeah, I caught it.
We'll put in Warriors colors.
There you go.
Yeah. I just think they're just so dynamic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really. I thought it was cool. A wing guy won it. I thought it should have been Mikal Bridges, but I'm okay. I'm not. And then, Ja getting Most Improved. So obviously he was, the man, and he's incredible. And my nephews are watching NBA basketball now because they love Ja Morant, and it just warms my heart. I love it so much.
Just let them braid their hair now, then you'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't think he should have been on the Most Improved Player ballot because I think that's like not a slight on
sophomore. No, it's freshman to sophomore. Like that's the growth he's supposed to show.
Yeah, like this is his 3rd season.
Yeah.
And Memphis was the freaking 2 seed.
Yeah.
Like, Ja Morant should have been an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
I mean, even he was like, I gave it to Desmond Bane. I thought he deserved it. Like,
yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah.
I really thought Darius Garland should have won it.
I would.
The step
I would
he took
agree
this
with
year
that.
was amazing. Yeah, I don't even think he was a candidate.
Mm-mm.
I mean, he was an all-star this year. He was super
good.
Yeah.
He absolutely was.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking Deante Murray was the guy I wanted to go with.
That's a good one too. Love him.
I thought he took a huge leap, going from I can say like towards the end of last year to being the guy on the Spurs.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's tremendous. I'm a big fan of his. If he was a Bull, I would probably have his jersey. Yeah. All right, so we have one series I guess 2 series for sure set in stone. Let's just go and call it what it is at this point.
Yeah.
So let's talk real quick about Boston and Milwaukee. 2 versus 3, defending champs. They're without Chris Middleton for the series, though. Boston defensively has been super locked in, like we talked about. Jason Tatum has taken yet another leap. Just superstardom all over that guy. When you guys look at this series, what do you think about it? Where does your head go? Like, how do you feel about this matchup? To me, it feels like it's a 7-game series.
I feel like Boston has. I feel like Boston has the one up right now, just because of Middleton not being there. And I think Boston has the guys that can attempt to try to neutralize Giannis in a way, putting some big bodies on him, and the way they switch and they run, and Boston's a problem. They're a matchup nightmare on offense. Like,
for sure,
you have 2 guys on the floor to guard Brown and to guard Tatum. Like, it just, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't expect Boston to be this way in the second half of the season. They came out of nowhere and just started throttling everybody. Yeah. And I think this is the team that everybody wanted to see the last few years with Boston. And really what I think you see is just the maturity of those 2 young guys on the team. They figured it out finally, how to play together. One of them took control of the team and basically said, it's my team. And then you got that veteran leadership with guys like Smart and bringing Horford back. And like I said, the emergence of Robert Williams in the paint. I mean, they kind of have a complete team, so to speak. They really do.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The loss of Middleton will be huge. Just not only scoring, but another defender. Because you look at matchups. You look at Tatum and Giannis. You look at Smart and Drew. So like you look at these matchups, and Middleton is that guy that could have matched up with Jaylen Brown. He could have matched up with another guard, and he could have been a mismatch on the other end too. So him not playing is going to be huge. But Josh brought up a good point. I think the Celtics are so locked in defensively. I of course I think it's going to be a 7-game series. But man, the X factor is always Giannis, right? I mean, Giannis is going to be the guy that's he's going to get his points, and he's going to get his rebounds, and he's going to score, and he's going to do all the things that he does defensively. I mean, he's kind of like the Energizer Bunny. But you've got to find, is it going to be Drew Holiday? Who's going to be that next person to step up?
Apparently, it's Grayson Allen.
I was going to say. Pains me to say it, but he was unbelievable in the Bulls series. So good. Yeah. I hate it, but
I'll show you guys.
Yeah, got to give the devil its due, man. No pun intended.
Yeah, he was tough.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like if he gets hot, he can easily win a game for them. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you guys though. It pains me to say it, but I think Boston's the better of the 2. Especially without Chris Middleton. I think the way Tatum and Brown have been able to play, their supporting cast has been coming in. Like Daniel Tice is like playing good minutes at times, and Al Horford's there. Battling for the boards every night, and it's like they're obviously just kind of on a different level right now.
Yeah.
And they're coming off a high. They did beat Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. What does Grant Williams give them? What does Derek White give them? Those are things that play a factor in this. So Yeah, I think it goes 7. I think it's a fight, but I think Boston wins.
So you're saying Boston 7?
Yeah.
I would say Boston 7 as well.
Yeah, and Philly has officially moved on. So, Josh, do you want to give your prediction before we break down Philly and Miami?
That's a tough one, man.
It is a tough one.
I think that one goes 7.
Yeah. We're all in agreement.
I think it goes 7, and I think we're going to see Miami and Boston in the finals in the Eastern Conference. Unless Harden shows, if James Harden just attempts to show up for a game or two, I think that Philly can win. If he doesn't show up, like, I don't think Maxey has it in him as these series get deeper and deeper and you start playing better teams. I mean, he's still too young. Get him some experience, he'll be fine. But Philly lost so much in that trade to me, man, that they lost a lot of their firepower and their bench, and their losing Drummond and Curry hurt them a lot, man. It really did.
Why the hell in a blowout was James Harden playing 42 minutes tonight? They won by 30.
And Maxey played 44.
Oh my God.
They're probably trying to find their game, man. Or at least Harden, he's probably trying to find his game.
Secret guy to keep an eye on if you're in this Philly-Miami series, Paul Reed. That kid's he is vicious on the boards.
Yeah.
Vicious. Yeah, so obviously now we know Philly, Miami, 2 really good defensive teams, so this could be boring for non-regular basketball fans, but for us, we're going to love every minute of it.
Absolutely.
I feel like this is for the first time in a while where I feel like the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference are playing, and they're all fairly comparable to each other as far as like you kind of don't. So like the one team's not a clear favorite, to win a series because those teams were so close all year long. They all held number 1 spot in the East at some point late in the season. And I just kind of see that they could go either way in either series.
Yeah, I agree. It's really just an interesting dynamic how equally competitive they are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. For me in this series, like, I love Miami. I think they're awesome. Spo is the man. Doc Rivers is the ultimate chokester, and he's probably thinking about coaching the Lakers next year. God bless his soul. But with Butler and Lowry battling injury, and even if he just kind of shows up, if James Harden is a shell of himself or like a little bit of James Harden from Houston, I think Philly wins the series. I think Embiid's just playing too high of a level.
So so why is James Harden not playing at James Harden level? What are you seeing as far as...
Oh, no, I'm sorry, he is. It's the playoffs. You're right. It's playoff James Harden showing up.
So regular season James Harden, I'll say that. So is there something where it's not a good fit in Philly, or is it just I don't know. I mean, of course, Embiid is the man, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, like, if he's comfortable. I wouldn't say he's not comfortable taking a back seat to Embiid, because it seems like he does like playing with him.
Mm-hmm.
But building that camaraderie is still kind of happening for this team.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of plays a factor as well. But like, it's James Harden. Not my favorite player in the world by any stretch of the matter. But
what?
Yeah, when he turns it on, it's hard to stop him.
Yeah, he's tough.
He's going to have Jimmy Butler guarding him in this series quite a bit if Jimmy Butler can play, and Kyle Lowry's going to be guarding him. So
if he can play, that's the biggest thing for me, man. The Heat they're not healthy. I mean,
right.
As much as Jimmy Butler's trying to fight through it, Kyle Lowry's coming off injury. Those two aren't healthy. Philly is the healthier team, but they're not the deeper team. So it's hard for me to say. I hate going against Spoelstra because he's such a great coach. So I don't want to say that the Heat won't win the series because I do love Spo. But man, you brought up a good point. Embiid is just playing at just a different level.
Well, Embiid also has that thumb injury.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But he also had 33 and 10 tonight, so I don't know how much that thumb injury is going. I don't know how much that is going to.
So here's the thing with me about Miami: if they're healthy, even though Kyle Lowry is kind of small, you look at their lineup and you go him and Butler, and even you bring Oladipo in, you got Bam. I mean, these guys can switch on defense and they can move around. So like, you're going to see a point where Bam's probably guarding James Harden, like if they get on the switch, and they're okay with that.
Yeah,
they feel like he moves good enough that they're okay with that. Their issue might be trying to handle Embiid down low because they don't really have the size for that. But I think that they swarm so much on defense, like they could get to him on a double team so fast and still get back out and rotate around and make them take bad shots. And then we may even see Miami go to that zone that they like to use sometimes and try to switch it up on them a little bit. So, like I said, I just don't know. I'm ready to watch some good basketball.
Yeah, it's such a close matchup. I just have to lean having the team that has the two best players in the series.
I'm not giving up. I'm not going to give up on Giannis until they lose because they're the champs. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah. I'm the same way. So I think I'm going to go. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Philly. I'm going to take the Sixers in 6. But if we're here at the end of the series and I go, Doc Rivers did not make any rotations or make any adjustments in the second half, and they lost all those games, I'm going to go, yeah, that's about right.
Hey, I know Philly won tonight. I was just waiting for Doc to be the first coach to blow a 3-0 lead. I'm like, true. You go top off blowing multiple 3-1 leads with a 3-0 lead, huh?
That's a good point.
Go out in spectacular fashion.
Burn it down.
Well, I mean, we're pretty much set for the next round, barring what happens in this Phoenix game.
Which New Orleans is up 1 right now with a few minutes to go. Oh, no. Phoenix just took the lead 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. Phoenix is up 1.
And we haven't even talked about how bad Utah's been.
Because we don't want to.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah. Quinn Snyder says he's not interested in the Lakers job because I handled Frank Vogel. He might need to take the Lakers job.
Yeah, maybe.
I know my man's got coaches getting indicted, and
Donovan Mitchell looks all the way out. He just looks like he is like,
yeah, he's done.
I'm done. The hell with this.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah,
you know what's crazy in that series? I know we don't really get into it, but they looked so much better when Whiteside was on the floor when they were playing the other night, as opposed to Gobert. And I was like, just leave him out there, man. Just leave him out there. Just like he's bringing some energy to the floor. That's a little. Just leave him.
Yeah.
Nope. My boy Gobert was 5 feet from the basket and wouldn't shoot it.
Yeah, and then he says I just get this unfair treatment from the media. It's like, no, it's not unfair anymore, dude. When you've done this years on end,
this is this is becoming this is who you are. Like this is who you are.
Yeah, for sure. Well, all right, dudes. Is there anything else we want to touch on before we get out of here? Anything you guys think we need to discuss, or anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
I think we're good.
Oh yeah,
this game's coming down to the wire. Phoenix and Devin Booker just airballed horribly.
I mean, other than the fact that, side note, Ben, Ohio State just got 2 receivers in the draft back-to-back picks.
And then Jameson Williams got taken, former Ohio State guy that went to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
What a wide receiver room that is.
Incredible.
Yeah. Hey, Zach Taylor, just in case you guys were wondering, said if 31 rolls around and there's a quarterback sitting there, we're going to pass.
You don't say. Why would they do such a thing?
Duly noted.
Just letting you know.
Well, thank you all for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it as always. I know we're kind of working on a strange schedule right now, but life's hectic for all of us. So yeah, check us out, 48 Minutes Basketball Network, on all of your podcast subscriptions of choice and YouTube. Also go to 48minutesbasketballnetwork.merchmake.com. Get yourself some tees, some sweats, all the cool jazz and more. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a good night and keep enjoying the playoffs. We'll be back next week.
Yes, sir.